Ladies and gentlemen, friends and fellow travelers on this journey called life, crisis. The very word evokes fear, uncertainty, and confusion. It's as if the world suddenly stands still and we find ourselves facing an overwhelming force, one that threatens to engulf us, shatter our peace, and leave us in the rubble of despair. We've all been there. When life's trials hit us with a force that feels beyond our control, whether it's a personal setback, a financial disaster, a loss of health, or a global crisis that we have no part in creating, it feels as though we're standing on the precipice of a great unknown. But let me tell you this, crisis is not the end of the story. It is merely a chapter. A crisis is an opportunity for growth, a chance to transform, and the doorway to the next level of our existence. We must first understand that crisis is not something to be feared, for it is inevitable. It's part of the human experience. Every great success story, every great leader, every great movement was born out of crisis. It is how we respond to the crisis that defines us. It is in the response that the power to overcome lies. Let me take you on a journey of understanding, a journey that will empower you to rise above any crisis that may come your way. You see, the first step in overcoming crisis is understanding that it's not the crisis itself that defeats you, it's how you perceive it. The lens through which you view your circumstances will determine your outcome. If you see the crisis as a destructive force, as something that has come to destroy you, then that is precisely what it will do. But if you see it as an opportunity to learn, to grow, to become better, then that is exactly what it will become. You must remember that the power is in your perception. Your mind is the battlefield. Crisis in its raw form is simply a disruption of the status quo. It's the moment when the comfortable routine we've built is shaken and we're forced to confront something greater than ourselves. But it's also the moment when we're given the opportunity to choose how we will respond. And response is everything. You see, how you respond to a crisis reveals the strength of your character, the depth of your resilience, and the power of your vision. The choices you make during crisis moments can either make you or break you. So how do we respond? The first step is to embrace the reality of the situation. Denial only prolongs the agony. When you find yourself in a crisis, accept it for what it is. Don't waste time asking why it happened or wishing it away. Focus on what you can control in the moment. The energy spent on resisting reality is the energy that could have been spent creating solutions. In times of crisis, clarity is the key. And clarity comes only when you stop fighting the facts and start looking for a way forward. But embracing reality doesn't mean surrendering to it. There's a difference between accepting the present situation and resigning yourself to it. Acceptance is the first step toward power. Resignation is the first step toward defeat. Once you accept that the crisis has arrived, it's time to make a decision. Will you stay where you are, or will you rise to meet the challenge? The choice is yours. The question is, what will you do with the crisis you're facing? The second step is to redefine your purpose. In times of crisis, we can become so overwhelmed by the circumstances that we lose sight of our original purpose, the reason we embarked on this journey in the first place. But this is precisely when you must reconnect with your purpose. Your purpose is the anchor that will hold you steady when the storm rages around you. It is the beacon that will guide you through the darkness. When you face a crisis, go back to the core of who you are. What do you stand for? What do you want to achieve in this world? In the midst of chaos, you must remember your vision. Your vision was given to you for a reason, and no crisis can take it away unless you allow it. It's the fire that will propel you forward when everything else seems to be falling apart. Your purpose is not just a personal dream. It is your contribution to the world. And when you lose sight of that, you lose sight of everything. Reconnect with your purpose and you will find the strength to persevere. The third step is to build your resilience. Resilience is the ability to bounce back, to recover, and to grow stronger in the face of adversity. Crisis exposes the weaknesses in us, but it also provides the opportunity to strengthen our resolve. In times of crisis, it's important to remember that resilience is not about avoiding pain or hardship. It's about enduring it, learning from it, and emerging from it with a greater sense of strength and purpose. To build resilience, you must first be willing to face your fears. Fear is a natural response to crisis, but it cannot be allowed to control you. Acknowledge the fear, but don't let it dictate your actions. Take the first step, even if it's a small one, and trust that as you move forward, the path will become clearer. Resilience is built in the small, everyday decisions to keep going, even when the road is difficult. It's about showing up day after day, even when it feels like nothing is working. And with each step you take, you build your capacity to endure. The fourth and final step is to never give up on yourself. When crisis strikes, it's easy to lose faith in your ability to overcome it. It's easy to believe that this is the moment you've been waiting for, the moment when everything falls apart. But remember, the strength to overcome any crisis is already inside of you. It's not something you have to look for. It's something you have to awaken. Never give up on your own ability to overcome. You were created for greatness, and no crisis can take that away from you unless you allow it to. In the end, crisis is not an obstacle. It's an opportunity. An opportunity to grow, to learn, to stretch beyond your limits, and to discover the depth of your own strength. How you overcome crisis depends on your response. Will you succumb to fear, or will you rise with courage? Will you let the crisis define you, or will you define it by your actions? The choice is yours. Ladies and gentlemen, the crisis you face today does not have to be your defeat. It is the moment for you to rise higher than you ever thought possible, and to walk into the greatness that has always been within you. It's time to overcome. It's time to rise above the crisis. Let your response be your triumph. Thank you. Perception is power. In moments of crisis, the way we perceive the situation can either be a source of strength or a pathway to defeat. When a crisis arises, our immediate reaction is often driven by emotion, fear, anxiety, frustration, and confusion. These emotions, while natural, can cloud our judgment and distort how we view the circumstance. It is in this very moment that the power of perception comes into play. How we choose to interpret what is happening around us can be the difference between surrendering to the crisis or rising above it. The first step in harnessing the power of perception is to recognize that crisis is not inherently negative. It is simply a disruption of the status quo. What defines whether that disruption will destroy us or drive us to greatness lies in how we choose to see it. If we view the crisis as an insurmountable obstacle, then it will become one. Our minds will focus on the barriers, the roadblocks, and the difficulties, and we will become consumed by them. This perception will lead us to feel powerless, hopeless, and stuck. But if we shift our perception and see the crisis as an opportunity, a challenge to overcome, a chance to grow and evolve, then our mindset shifts from victimhood to empowerment. We begin to ask ourselves, what can I learn from this? How can this help me grow? What strengths do I have inside me that I haven't yet tapped into? The power of perception also means understanding that not every crisis is within our control. There are circumstances in life that we cannot change, but we always have control over how we respond to them. Two people can experience the same crisis, and yet their outcomes will be entirely different, not because one person's situation is more favorable than the other, but because of their differing perceptions. One person may see a crisis as a failure, something to avoid or be ashamed of, while another sees it as a stepping stone, a test of character and resilience. It is not the crisis itself that determines success or failure. It is our perception of it. When we realize that our perspective shapes our reality, we unlock the power to turn any crisis into a catalyst for personal growth and transformation. In times of crisis, one of the most important things we can do is embrace the reality of the situation. Denial, though a natural human response, only prolongs the pain and prevents us from moving forward. It is tempting to pretend that everything is fine or to ignore the severity of what we are facing, but doing so only keeps us stuck in a state of confusion and helplessness. The first step to overcoming any crisis is to acknowledge it fully, to face it head on with clarity and honesty. This doesn't mean giving up or resigning ourselves to defeat. Acceptance is a crucial part of this process. When we accept the crisis, we stop wasting energy on wishing it away or focusing on the unfairness of it all. We stop asking why me or why now. Instead, we begin to ask what now and how can I move through this? Acceptance does not mean we are powerless. On the contrary, it is the foundation of regaining control. It is only when we come to terms with our circumstances that we can begin to plan a way forward. By acknowledging the reality, we clear the mental fog and open ourselves up to finding solutions, understanding the lessons, and identifying new paths that we may not have seen before. When you embrace the reality of a crisis, you also embrace your role in navigating through it. There is power in knowing that while we cannot always control external events, we do have control over how we respond to them. Once we accept the reality, we are no longer paralyzed by fear or indecision. We can think more clearly, take purposeful action, and move in a direction that aligns with our values and vision. It's about acknowledging that there is no perfect time for a crisis, but it is the reality of life, and by accepting it, we free ourselves from the struggle against it. In this state of acceptance, we can then focus our energy on what we can change, what we can influence, and what we can build from this moment. Crisis has a unique way of clouding our vision, often causing us to lose sight of the very reason we started on our journey in the first place. When everything around us seems to fall apart, we can easily become consumed by the circumstances and forget about the greater purpose that drives us. This is why reconnecting with our purpose is vital in overcoming a crisis. Our purpose serves as an anchor that keeps us grounded, a guiding light that leads us through the darkest moments. Without it, we can feel adrift, uncertain, and directionless. But with it, we gain clarity and the determination to keep moving forward, even when the path seems unclear. During a crisis, it is easy to become distracted by the chaos, the challenges, and the emotional toll it takes. The weight of the situation may cause us to question everything we've worked for, and at times it may feel like all hope is lost. However, when we reconnect with our purpose, we remind ourselves of the why behind everything we've done and continue to do. Purpose is the fuel that drives us, and in times of difficulty, it becomes the energy that keeps us moving. Our purpose is what gives meaning to our struggle. It is the lens through which we can find value in even the most painful experiences. The more we reconnect with it, the more we realize that the crisis is not the end of the road, but merely a detour, a test that we must pass to reach the next level of our journey. Reestablishing our connection with purpose also allows us to regain perspective. We begin to see the crisis not as something that is happening to us, but as something that is happening for us. We begin to ask questions like, how can this challenge refine me? What can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to help others or fulfill my mission? When we view a crisis through the lens of purpose, we begin to see opportunities instead of obstacles, growth instead of defeat. This shift in perspective is what empowers us to take purposeful action, even in the face of uncertainty. By focusing on the bigger picture, we regain control over our thoughts and actions, allowing us to navigate through the crisis with clarity and resolve. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from adversity, to rise from the depths of difficulty, and emerge stronger than before. In times of crisis, our resilience is put to the test. It is easy to feel defeated, to believe that the weight of the situation is too heavy to bear. But true strength is not measured by how smoothly things go. It is measured by how we handle the storms that come our way. Crisis exposes our vulnerabilities and weaknesses, but it also provides an opportunity to build resilience, to grow in ways we never imagined possible. The foundation of resilience is the willingness to endure. It's not about avoiding pain or hardship, but about facing it head on, accepting it as part of the journey, and continuing to move forward despite it. Face, no matter how difficult, offers an opportunity to learn and evolve. Resilience grows from our ability to persevere through the tough times, to keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when the road is uncertain and the destination unclear. This is not to say that resilience comes easily or that we should disregard the pain we feel during a crisis. Instead, resilience is about recognizing that pain does not define us. It is something we experience, but it does not control us. One of the key aspects of building resilience is mental toughness. Crisis has the ability to knock us down, but it is our mindset that determines how quickly we rise. A resilient person sees setbacks as temporary, as part of the process, not as permanent failures. They understand that a moment of weakness or a period of struggle does not determine their entire journey. With resilience, there is always the belief that better days are ahead, that each difficulty faced is an opportunity for growth. This belief is not rooted in blind optimism, but in a deep understanding that challenges are a natural part of life. Building resilience also involves adapting to change. Crisis often forces us to adjust our plans, goals, and strategies. The ability to adapt and stay flexible in the face of change is what allows us to thrive in adversity. It's about being able to pivot, to look for new solutions when the old ones no longer work. In this way, resilience is not just about enduring. It is about evolving, learning new ways of thinking, and finding new paths to success. Through this process, we gain not only strength, but wisdom, which prepares us for future challenges. When faced with a crisis, one of the most critical factors in overcoming it is the belief in your own ability to rise above it. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of the situation and to lose faith in your capacity to overcome the obstacles in front of you. During a crisis, it can feel like everything is falling apart. And in those moments, the most important thing you can do is never give up on yourself. The strength to overcome any challenge lies not in the circumstances around you, but in the resilience within you. Believing in yourself is not about having all the answers or knowing exactly what will happen next. It's about trusting in your ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow through the experience. You are created with the inherent ability to navigate challenges, even those that seem insurmountable. When faced with adversity, you must remind yourself that you are capable, that you have the inner resources to find solutions, and that you are not defined by the crisis you are experiencing. The moment you lose faith in yourself is the moment you surrender to defeat. But when you keep believing in your ability to overcome, you keep the door open to possibility, to growth, and to transformation. A crisis may temporarily shake your confidence, but your self-belief must be stronger than the fear or doubt that creeps in. Each setback or failure is not a reflection of your worth, but an opportunity to learn and grow. It's important to remember that even in the most difficult times, you possess the power to choose how you will respond. The belief in yourself gives you the courage to take that first step, to make decisions, and to keep moving forward even when the path is unclear. When you hold on to your belief in your own strength, you start to see the crisis not as something that is happening to you, but as something that is happening for you. A challenge that is testing your ability to grow and become better. Never giving up on yourself also means embracing the idea that setbacks are not permanent. Every challenge, no matter how difficult, is temporary. The strength to overcome lies in your ability to persevere, to maintain a positive mindset, and to continue believing that your ability to rise above the crisis is greater than the crisis itself. In conclusion, overcoming a crisis is not a matter of avoiding difficulty or wishing it away. It is a process that requires strength, courage, and a mindset that views challenges as opportunities for growth rather than threats to our well-being. The journey through crisis is not about the absence of struggle, but about how we respond to it. It is about the choices we make in the face of adversity and the resilience we build along the way. The first step to overcoming any crisis is understanding that how we perceive the situation plays a crucial role in determining the outcome. Our perception is a powerful force. It shapes our reality and dictates how we experience and react to the challenges before us. When we choose to view a crisis as an opportunity for transformation, as a test of our character and strength, we position ourselves to rise above the situation rather than be consumed by it. A shift in perception can change everything. Embracing the reality of the situation is the next vital step. Denial may provide temporary relief, but it delays our ability to act and find solutions. When we accept what is happening, we free ourselves from the weight of resistance and are able to focus our energy on what we can control. Acceptance does not mean surrender. It is an acknowledgement of where we are, which then allows us to move forward with clarity and purpose. It is a conscious choice to stop fighting against the inevitable and instead direct our energy toward overcoming it. Reconnecting with our purpose is equally important. During times of crisis, we may lose sight of why we started on this journey in the first place. The crisis may cause us to question our mission and doubt our vision. However, it is in these moments that we must return to the core of our purpose. Our purpose is what drives us and keeps us grounded when everything around us feels uncertain. It is the anchor that provides meaning and perspective, helping us see the bigger picture and understand that the crisis is not the end, but a chapter in our journey toward greater achievement and growth. Building resilience is essential for navigating through crisis. Resilience is not the absence of struggle, but the ability to endure and grow stronger because of it. Crisis presents us with the chance to develop mental toughness and adaptability, qualities that enable us to thrive in adversity. Each setback, each challenge is an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to evolve into a stronger version of ourselves. It is through these experiences that we discover our true strength and gain the wisdom necessary to face future challenges with greater confidence and determination. Finally, never giving up on yourself is the key to overcoming any crisis.